Recently, I've been thinking a lot about the days of yore, BookTube during 2015 and 2014 and 2013. It was just the most beautiful, wonderful time. I feel so grateful to have grown up during that era of the internet. I just remember coming home from middle school and like watching those videos and finding out about so many different books that I could read, and it shaped me into the person that I am today because I discovered so many great books through those channels and through the internet. And I've been feeling very nostalgic recently for YA as a genre and for what BookTube was like 10 years ago. I wanted to take a walk down memory lane, revisit some of the classics, and talk about some of the books that were canonical works of literature on the internet in the year 2015. What a time to be alive. I miss it so much, like I can't stress that enough. So today I'm going to be going through and tier ranking the most popular books on BookTube and just book social media 10 years ago during this time. I think I might do another video as well, tier ranking the books that are very popular now, because I would like to see the distribution of what's in the top tier and what's in the bottom tier, and compare and contrast. But without further ado, let's get into tier ranking these books. So here we have the tiers. In the S tier, is that the top tier? We have straight to the canon. These are the books that are just the best thing to ever exist. They are classics. I mean, at least in my opinion, they are classics. They are beautiful works of art. They're in the canon. They are perfect. I love them. I can't say enough good things about them. They made me who I am today. I wouldn't be here sitting here if it weren't for these books. These are the best of the best. Next we have The Moment. The Moment is for books that were really good. Like, they were really great, really solid reads. They just aren't everlasting in their legacy. They were really great at the time. I had a really fun time reading them at the time, but they're not quite crisp enough to be in the top tier. Getting into some of the more middling categories, we have This Was the Vibe at the Time. This Was the Vibe at the Time is for the books that were good, but I don't remember a ton about them, or they just haven't aged well. Like, they're books that I really enjoyed at the time, and they had their moment. They had their, Coachella 2016. Well Okay is for just books that were okay. Not like anything I have a problem with, nothing too terrible, just they were okay. And then bottom tier is Leave It in 2015. These are the books that I read, I didn't like, and I will leave them where they belong, which is 10 years ago. And then finally, in the very bottom, we have I Don't Know Her. These are for books that either I did not read, because I did want to include those in here. There's some like very popular series that I haven't read, so it's either for them or it's for books that I read and I just like don't remember anything about them, so I feel like I can't even comment on the quality of them. I would like to give a disclaimer that I have extensive but not comprehensive knowledge of every book that was popular during this time. I'm sure there's some that are missing. I'm sure there's some that I may have forgotten about, and I truly do apologize if I have forgotten about them. There's just, I couldn't get them all. I mean, we all inhabit our own echo chambers on the internet, so these are the books that were being constantly fed to me as very popular. First, we have If I Stay. This was a movie with the YA adaptation It Girl, Chloe Grace Moretz, so it was pretty popular. It was kind of your classic YA romance. There was a lot of cheese, that's what I remember. I don't know if I was totally emotionally moved by it. I don't think I was crying reading it. I think I was a little bit like, when you're 12 and you read a romance and you're like, this is so cheesy. I was kind of caught up in that. You don't really hear people talk about it a whole lot. Like, people don't even talk about the movie. But even at age 12, I was like, this is a little corny, which is hard to say because I feel like 12-year-olds, you're still in that like childlike phase of being like, ew, romance, ugh. There's definitely books here that I was totally swept up in the romance of. So I'm gonna put it in This Was the Vibe at the Time because I liked it. I didn't love it. Okay, next we have Beautiful Creatures. I'm gonna put this in I Don't Know Her because did I read this? I think I read this. I think it took me a couple of tries. I don't know. I remember picking this one up over and over again, trying to get into it, and I just unfortunately never could. It was another popular like paranormal romance. Sorry, I'm like obsessed with jingling my bracelets, and I'm realizing that's not a good habit to have like while I'm filming. It was really popular at the time, but I remember it was one of those popular books. We used to have like this weird thing, I think we still do it online today, where we'd hold up a book and we'd be like, this book's super popular, I don't know why. And it seemed like every person had that opinion, and it was like, okay, well, who likes this book? Like, why are we just here talking shit? I don't even remember what it's about. It was also a movie, oh my god. In the small town of Gatlin, South Carolina, teenage Ethan Waite sees his static world shaken by the arrival of Lena Ducans, the niece of town patriarch Macon Ravenwood. These are the most YA mid-2010s names I've ever heard. That sounds familiar. It's always a guy who's drawn to a girl who's like destruction. I don't know what to make of that. Okay, next we have Hush Hush. Man, we were really going at it with the covers in the mid-2010s. We don't make book covers like this anymore. Hush Hush is about a fallen angel. Patch, sorry, his name is Patch. Romance was not part of Nora Gray's plan. Basically, she's at school. I don't know if Patch is the new kid or if she's the new kid. I feel like there's definitely a new kid trope going on there. And this time, instead of danger surrounding her, it's dangerous, or does danger surround her and he's like, you protecting her? I don't know. I am gonna put this in well okay. I think I kind of liked this series, but I don't remember anything about what happened in this book. I don't think I read the rest. I think it was like 4 books in the series. I didn't read the rest of the books. I don't think. If I did, I don't remember them. And Hush Hush, I remember it had a really slow start, and then I remember I stayed home from school one day because I was sick, and I read the entire second half in a whole day. And then I was like, oh, this was really good. And I think I gave it like 4 out of 5 stars. But I think I was just swept up in the climactic ending because I actually don't remember anything that happens. I mean, it was, to be fair, 11 years ago. So cut me some slack. Next, we have Vampire Academy, straight to the canon. Totally underrated. We don't talk about this series enough. I know vampires, like, they really had their moment. This was another, all of these have been movie adaptations, I'm realizing too. We were really adapting stuff back then. Vampire Academy, I saw the movie first, and I think that was the way to do it because the movie is not, it doesn't live up to the book, but the movie still has a very special place in my heart because it introduced me to the book. It got me into reading this incredible series. It's also, I mean, should we just do this one while we're here? There's a spin-off series as well, Bloodlines. So if you get into Vampire Academy, which is a 6-book YA series, that's another thing. We used to be writing series back in the day. Like, what happened? I remember I would spend all my waking days just like waiting for the next book in a series to drop. And then I would call the bookstore and be like, please put it on hold for me. Even though it was like my local bookstore in like a small town, like no one was rushing out to buy like Forbidden Love, the 5th book in the Vampire Academy series. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's these 2 girls at a boarding school that houses vampires, but the main character is like, she's like half vampire, half human, and the half vampire, half humans are granted the super strength, but not like the drinking blood. They're basically assigned to protect the vampires because then there's like other bad vampires that they need to protect them from. It's really a great story of like friendship. I really loved the friendship between, is it Rose and Lissa? I thought it was really beautiful. And I loved Adrian Abashkov as well. Like, we don't write men like that anymore. Speaking of Adrian Abashkov, though, he was so popular that then Rochelle Mead did such a service to everyone, to which she deserves to be canonized as a saint. And she wrote Bloodlines. And okay, Bloodlines is a tricky one. I'm gonna put it in straight to the canon. I really loved the first 5 books, and then even though the quality does kind of dip around book 4, I can objectively see that, but I still love book 4. I still love book 5. Book 6, I remember not being a huge fan of. Like, I read all of Vampire Academy in 2014, and then I read books 1 through 5 of Bloodlines in 2014. And then I think the last book in the Bloodline series came out in 2016. So I was a little bit done with it by the time it came out. I was just a little bit out of it. So I didn't love it. It feels like it has not as strong as a finish. Like, I think I like them more than the whole Vampire Academy series, just because, once again, I love Adrian Abashkov. And you know what? I remember the kids at school having much to say about the covers of these books. and I don't want to hear it. We don't talk about these books enough. I'm here doing important work, and that's bringing back to the collective consciousness these books, Vampire Academy and Bloodlines. Let's go into The Maze Runner. I'm also gonna put this in I Don't Know Her. I definitely also got this as a box set from Costco that I asked my parents for, or maybe my sister. Me and my sister would like team up. So we had the whole series. I think I read the first one, or at least I read the first bit of the first one. It just never was my thing. I was never really into it. It's like kids in a maze. Yeah. The Hunger Games, straight to the canon. I mean, it's already in the canon. It's already there. It's been decided by forces greater than me and my tier ranking video. The Hunger Games is a modern classic. I think it's a book that everybody should read. As the original trilogy, I will say that. I will stipulate that. I like the spinoff about President Snow, but it's not quite as good, and I really did not like Sunrise on the Reaping. But The Hunger Games, the original trilogy, this is the series that got me into reading. I would not be the person I am today without having read The Hunger Games. I used to not like to read, and then I read these books and I was like, oh, well, now this is my new personality. I love to read, and it stuck. I don't think any other book has come close to doing what The Hunger Games has done in the modern era. It truly is a classic for our time. It says so many important things, and it's also just a riveting story with incredible characters. Like, it's great. Okay, next we have Divergent. What was the one that we said Divergent was copying again? Was it The Hunger Games? Okay, if we're just talking about Divergent, it's kind of the moment. Like, it was the moment. Like, that movie with Theo James. But I think I'm gonna put it in This Was the Vibe at the Time. I have to, because what the hell happened? What happened with those movie adaptations? First of all, let's talk about that. I think I just saw the first one. I saw the trailer for the second one, and I was like, I don't need to be a part of that. And then by the time the third one was coming out, and there was like, they split it into 2 parts, even though the third book didn't even really have enough plot to sustain one movie, they split it into 2 because capitalism, I guess. I mean, like, if you weren't walking around being like, I'm dauntless, I'm divergent, I'm abnegation. I don't think anyone was walking around saying I'm abnegation. I was always like, I'd be an Amity if I was in Divergent. It did take me a really long time, I think, to read the third book. I think I started it a couple times, put it down, then finally like trudged my way through it in 2016. And I didn't really love it. I just wanted to see what happens. Is it a spoiler to say what happens? Because like, we've been talking about it for so long, but also I feel like some people haven't read it now because it's kind of fallen out of favor. I was really into Divergent though. I really liked the first book, so I'll put it up there. Next we have Shatter Me, straight to the canon. So good. I think this has also become like a book talk book. It's also become a book that's super popular right now. It had like a second wind. Tahira Mafi is still writing books in the Shatter Me universe, and I can't fault her for it. Like, go off, queen. Yes, write 10 million books about these characters because you created them and they are honestly the most darling things. And if I created these characters, I also wouldn't be able to let them go. I still can't let them go. Aaron Warner is like the man of all men, you know, like he is the best. And he's one of the top tier YA book boyfriends. Oh my God, I haven't said book boyfriends in so long. I remember I was in play rehearsals. I was in like the all day play rehearsals. You know, that's like the best day of doing the school play, is when you get to skip a day of school and you get to do the all day dress rehearsal. That goes from like 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and you're like so tired and the teachers are yelling at you that you're gonna embarrass them and yourselves and you're gonna do a terrible job on stage. Yeah, so I was in all day play rehearsals and I was pig number 2 in Shrek. So I didn't really have much of a part. So I spent all day reading Unravel Me, and that was how I spent a gorgeous May day in 2015, and it was one of the best days of my life. And then I put the series down because I didn't think Juliet was gonna end up with Warner. I was only 12, so I didn't really understand how life worked, and I was like, oh my God, I don't think she's gonna end up with Warner, and I can't stand Adam, so I put the series down and then I picked it back up. Next we have Outlander. This was an era on YouTube where everyone was really into Outlander, and everyone was reading Outlander, and I was 12 at the time watching all these YouTubers be like, Outlander is the best book ever. And so I read Outlander when I was 12. And not for a 12-year-old to be reading. I got halfway through this book and I was like, I hate Jamie. And I still hate Jamie. I'm gonna put it in well, okay. I'm gonna be a little bit nice because I think my sister also really likes the show. So this one's for you, Tess. I remember being like kind of bored though while I was reading this because Outlander is not a book for a 12-year-old. If I were 12 years old and ranking this, it would be an I don't know her, even though I've read it, and that would be shady. But it's going into well okay because I did watch the show and I like the show a little bit more than the book. But God, there's like 9 books in this series and they're all like 700 pages. Next we have Dumplin'. This one's really fun. I'm putting this in the moment. I loved this book. I went to a signing with Julie Murphy, Angie Thomas, and Becky Albertalli when I was like 14, 15. So I have a signed copy of this book somewhere and I love this book. It became a Netflix adaptation and I also really love the Netflix adaptation. It's really good. It's starring Jennifer Aniston. I love that movie so much. I love this book. It was just so feel good. But it also talks on like some really important subject matter. It's like just a perfect YA contemporary novel. I really like it. It had its like moment online, but it wasn't really like one of the most popular books, but I think I just put it in here because I'm biased and it's my video and I really like this book and I wanted to talk about it and recommend it a little bit because it's good. Okay, next we have the John Green section. We have Paper Towns and The Fault in Our Stars. The Fault in Our Stars, it has to go straight to the canon. It has to. The Fault in Our Stars, like that moment in 2014, like that summer when the movie came out, Boom Clap by Charlie XCX is on the air because it's on the soundtrack. I wasn't the biggest fan of the book. I remember like I wasn't like totally swept off my feet by it. I've never really been like, I love John Green, don't get me wrong, I love him. I think he's an icon. I've never been totally swept off my feet by anything that he's written. I've just really enjoyed it. The Fault in Our Stars is just like such a classic. I mean, like I fell in love the same way you fall asleep, slowly and then all at once. I'm gonna put Paper Towns in straight to the canon as well because I really like that one. And it's a movie starring the guy who I think is currently dating Billie Eilish and Cara Delevingne. Paper Towns I really liked. I think I like Paper Towns a little bit more than The Fault in Our Stars. I read it in like a single day. I was just sucked right in. And it's also like really touches on the how men romanticize women and fall in love with the idea they have of them in their heads in a really interesting way. And I really like this. And I remember I went to go see the movie. Nat Wolff, that's his name. I really like Paper Towns as well. The Selection is like The Bachelor, but in a dystopian society, I believe, where there's like a monarchy for some reason and they pick the spouse of the incoming ruler by having a selection, which is basically The Bachelor, and it's like televised. I had fun reading these books. These books were so much fun. This is going in the moment. You know when sometimes you think of a book you read that was like a really romantic moment to remind yourself that true romance might really exist? I do sometimes think of scenes from The Selection with what's his name? Maddox. He was a prince, what can I say? The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas is going in straight to the canon. This is a really important YA novel, I think, for everybody to read. I think they've started teaching it in schools. It's about the Black Lives Matter movement. It follows a girl who witnesses her best friend being shot by a police officer, and it follows her finding her voice. And it was just really good. It's a really important read. I think everybody should read it, so I'm gonna put that there. And like I said in the signing with Julie Murphy for Dumpling, I met Angie Thomas as well, and she signed my book, and I loved listening to her speak. She said some things that I remember like to this day, and it was like 10 years ago. Okay, next we have Cinder by Marissa Meyer. This one was also a moment. I'm gonna put it in the moment. I love this series so much. Honestly, you know what? No, it's going in straight to the canon as well. I love this series so much. These ones are like dystopian fairy tale retellings. So we follow Cinder, which is a retelling of Cinderella, but she's a cyborg, and it's in the time of a plague. There's revolution. It's just all your classic YA dystopian tropes. But then there's like a second, third, fourth book, because like I mentioned, we were working. So there's 4 books in this series, and each one follows like a different fairy tale character. So the second one is called Scarlet. It's Little Red Riding Hood. The third one is Cress. It follows Rapunzel, and the fourth one is Winter. It's Snow White. I remember I picked up the first 2 books, and then I kind of fell out of it. And then my friend at school, on the same day that I was reading Unravel Me on that play rehearsal, she was reading Cress, and she was super invested in it, and she was so into it, and so she recommended it to me. Next we have We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. This one also got really popular. What are we doing out there? This one also got really popular in the book talk era in like 2020, and I think it just became a TV adaptation. People ask me, they're like, oh, have you seen We Were Liars? And I'm like, I haven't heard those words in a while. I'm gonna put this in well okay. I think I'm actually gonna move Outlander down. We Were Liars, I remember not enjoying, like, it's so short, and I remember not enjoying like the first 80% of it, and then it got to the plot twist and I was gagged. I was like, oh my god, I never saw that coming. And that kind of changed my whole view on the book, and I was like, okay, maybe I do enjoy it a little bit more. But like looking back on it, I was kind of bored for like 80% of it, so it's going in there. It's just not the best out there. Okay, next we have Red Rising. I'm putting this in I Don't Know Her just because I never read it. I was never a big sci-fi girl. I'm pretty sure people really liked this book because the author was hot. I mean, yeah, he was hot. But yeah, but I know people really liked this series as well. I just never got into it. I think I might in the future. The Queen of the Tearling. I'm putting this in Leave It in 2015. I'm starting to realize me and my sister have very different tastes because she really likes Outlander, and she was the one who read The Queen of the Tearling first and recommended it to me. I don't even remember what it's about. I think it's about like a lost queen. She's trying to reclaim her throne. Something to that effect. Everything. Oh, this was the vibe at the time. This was a cute romance. It's a story about a girl who has a rare autoimmune disease, and so she can't leave her house or be exposed to any pathogens. And then a boy moves in next door, and she's like, I want to make the exception. I think this book has some issues, but I remember it on the whole being just one of those classic YA love stories. Also a movie. Okay guys, buckle in. We're in for the Shadowhunter Chronicles. I mean, okay, City of Bones has to go straight to the canon. We make fun of this book series so much now, but back in the day, we were reading this like it was the Bible, and it really was the BookTube Bible. From 2013 to 2015, you had to read City of Bones to like have some sense of what was going on. I mean, it's not many books that get adapted into a movie, and then when the movie kind of flops, they're like, we have to try this again because people love it so much, and then they turn it into a TV show that's even worse and makes you regret the days that you kind of shat on the movie. Like, I mean, looking back on it, like, did it age well? No. The sibling shit was weird. What is it that he says to her about like being her brother and how it's like his role to protect her from the guys that do the things that he wants to do to her? Ugh. My favorite part of The Mortal Instruments is the second half of the series. I really love City of Fallen Angels, City of Lost Souls, and City of Heavenly Fire, the 4th, 5th, and 6th book. And then of course we have Clockwork Angel, The Infernal Devices, right at the very front. Right at the very, get out of the way, Vampire Academy. Are you guys seeing this shit? There we go. I had to do that. It had to be up front. I could talk for a whole hour about how much I love this series. It is so good. It is the best thing since sliced bread. It is the most beautiful love triangle to have ever been written. I've reread these books like 6 times. I kind of want to reread them again just this year to reignite my love for them, because I mean, it doesn't even need reignition. I'm sitting here, I love them. I love Will Herondale. Whenever I think about lowering my standards in the men I'm looking at and dating, because I'm like, well, maybe, you know, maybe I can forgive this. I read Will Herondale and I'm like, no, he set the bar so high for me at age 12, and any man that I end up with has to clear that bar. So that's all I'm gonna say on that. And then we have Lady Midnight. I don't really love the newer series. Like, I remember when Lord of Shadows came out and I read it and I was like, oh, it's okay. And then I went online and everybody was loving it. And I was like, I have to reread this to see if I missed something. And I had just finished the book and I was like, finally, I'm done. And then I restarted it because everyone was like, it's so good. And I was like, am I missing out on something? I don't really love the Dark Artifices too much. I think they're good. I think they're solid, but they're not my favorite of the Cassandra Clare series. And I do really like The Last Hours, but do I? I think the books have just started getting so long. Like, I think we just need to pare it down a little bit. But that being said, the first book in the last ever Shadowhunter Chronicles series is coming out this year. I'm gonna be sad for that. I will be sitting reading that at the end of the year. Daughter of Smoke and Bone. I'm gonna put it in This Was the Vibe at the time. I don't remember a ton about it. I definitely read it. I remember this series being really gorgeously written. I remember the world building being really cool. I feel like it had something to do with demons. I don't really have much to say about it because I don't remember a ton about it, but it was a moment and it was the vibe at the time. Fallen. I never read Fallen. But I did watch the movie. Me and my sister both caught the same flu. It was like top 5 sickest times of my life was when I caught the flu in 2017. So we stayed home from school and we were looking for movies to watch, and we came across Fallen and we said, let's watch this. And I thought I was hallucinating. I was like, is this a fever dream? So I guess I have to put it in I Don't Know Her. This was another one like Beautiful Creatures that everyone would hold up and be like, it would be like a New York Times bestseller. It would be super popular. Everyone was talking about it, but everyone would be like, I don't get it. Like, why do we like this book? And I'm like, well, who does like this book? Because I don't think I ever came across a single book content creator who liked this book. The Raven Boys. This one I'm gonna put in, leave it in 2015. It just wasn't for me. I know people really, really love it, and I truly, truly respect it. I think, you know, this is the book that without it, we wouldn't have Halsey and Maggie Stiefvater beef on Twitter. We just aren't doing it like we used to be doing it back in the day. What's his name? Gansey or something? I don't know. I don't even remember really what it's about. But it wasn't my favorite thing I've ever read, so that's why. The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer. I'm putting it in well okay. And it's really just there because Noah Shaw. This was like one of the like dark paranormal YA books. And she gets like visions before people die, and she like can predict people's deaths. And then she meets like a British boy. For some reason he's British, but he's really hot, and his name's Noah Shaw. And then there's a spin-off series about Noah that I was like, I don't think these are great, but I really love them just because I was obsessed with Noah Shaw. And I was doing some research for this video last night, and I was like, did the third and final book ever come out? No. It like the first book came out in like 2017, second book 2018, and then the third book just never came out, and we never got the conclusion. So, but that's the spin-off series. The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer is an iconic YA series. Next we have The Night Circus. I'm putting it in Leave It in 2015. Nope, get down there. I read this actually in like 2021, and I didn't really like it. It was during that time where I was like, I don't really know what I like want to read. I'm kind of growing out of YA, so I'm gonna venture more into adult. But this one just wasn't for me. And I know some people really loved it and really liked it. That's fantastic. It wasn't my vibe. I wasn't jiving with this one. Six of Crows, straight to the canon. This one is so good. I mean, it's another one that has become popular on BookTok again in modern times. It got adapted into a Netflix series, although they did it so dirty by combining it with Shadow and Bone and then never actually getting into the Six of Crows story. Really great, solid duology, amazing cast of characters. And then we also have Shadow and Bone, which is like Six of Crows is like the spin-off series of Shadow and Bone. They both take place in the same world. I'm gonna put Shadow and Bone in. This was the vibe at the time. I was never like a Darkling girl, you know? Everyone was like, oh my god, I'm so obsessed with the Darkling. He's so like hot. And I just always found him creepy. I think I always pictured him as really old, but I was also 12 at the time. So like, he was just like too old for me to like. And then Mal is Mal, you know, like he's annoying. Next we have Daisy Jones and the Six. I didn't put The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo in here, even though that was really popular. This is probably like one of the last books I'd consider to rise in popularity during this like old era. I'm gonna put Daisy Jones and the Six in the moment. Am I? Or this was the vibe at the time? This was the vibe at the time. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of Daisy Jones and the Six. I didn't put The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo in here because even though it was also really popular on BookTube, it just like didn't, I feel like it's taken off so much in BookTok in the era that we're currently in that it's not really associated with that time anymore. Daisy Jones and the Six was definitely one that BookTube really took to, and again, it was one that I kind of had FOMO on because I didn't love it. I didn't like the interview style. I felt like, I get it, it's super cool that you get to see everyone's conflicting accounts of the same event and they're all unreliable narrators. I love that. I think that's really cool. It was just not my journey because I love interiority. I want to crawl inside people's heads and see what they're thinking and see all their thoughts, and I love seeing characters lie to themselves. Okay, next we have Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. This was the moment. This was so cute. I love Becky Albertalli's contemporary YA novels. They are so cute, so feel good, but also really touching, and like they touch on really important issues. Love, Simon was also a really cute movie. It was the moment. It was the moment. Twilight, I'm putting in I Don't Know Her. Not because I didn't like her, I just never read her. That's kind of embarrassing to admit. I just saw the movie like last year. Twilight was a little bit before my time, and I never got into it. This is one like City of Bones that I would say like you kind of had to read at the time, but I said I don't have to read that. Scythe. I'm putting Scythe and This Was the Vibe at the time. It was a trilogy, right? And I think I read the second book, and I think by the time the third book came out, I was just burnt out and not really feeling it. I read Scythe in like 2 days for a readathon. I think it was the biannual bibliothon. Do you guys remember those? The biannual bibliothon and the BookTube-a-thon? What a moment. I miss them so much. We don't do that anymore. We need to do a readathon. Guys, we need to rally. We need to do a readathon this summer. Let's do a readathon. And there were like video challenges and reading challenges, and we would all come together, and it was such a, I miss it. I liked Scythe. I know people found the romance unnecessary. I kind of vibed with it. Percy Jackson. I never read. I think I started it when I was like 13, 14, and I just didn't love that the characters were 12. I was never really into middle grade. You'll notice that's why there's not like a ton of middle grade here. It just wasn't my thing. I really liked reading young adult, and I did see the movie, and I know people were really upset about the movie, especially because like the Lotus Island takes place in a casino and they're supposed to be like 14, but like, come on, like Poker Face by Lady Gaga is playing. That was an iconic moment. So I love the movie, and I never read the book. I'm basically confessing to my sins right here. Circe. For some reason, Circe was super popular on BookTube, I remember, and The Song of Achilles was talked about, but Circe was like really blew up when it first came out. I'm gonna put this in the moment. I mean, actually, this is one I would recommend. Very topical right now because The Odyssey, right, is coming out this summer. Oh God, okay. I had to put a Colleen Hoover book on this list because Colleen Hoover was a part of BookTube back in the day. And even when I was 12, I remember being like, I don't think I need to read that. So I never read it, but Ugly Love was a really popular book at the time. I mean, like, she had a few books that were really popular on BookTube in the mid-2010s. This was the one I remember people talking about, and I'm putting it in I Don't Know Her. I have not read it. The only snippet I have read from it is the like, you know the one. And like, that told me everything I need to know. Yeah, I don't think I'll be reading it. Red Queen. This is another one that became super popular again today. I'm gonna put this one in This Was the Vibe at the time because I think I really liked the first book, and then I really liked the fourth book. I feel like the middle two were like a little bit lackluster. I remember being like 12 years old and like staying up under the covers with like a flashlight reading this book. So I kind of have that memory with it, which is like, it's like such a classic like reading experience that you have as a kid. So I really liked it. To All the Boys I've Loved Before. The book itself I'm gonna put in This Was the Vibe at the time. I didn't really, like, I really liked the book. I really liked the second book. I remember being really invested in the second book. I really liked Peter. But these are a really classic, really cute YA series. Did I put To All the Boys I've Loved Before twice? Girl, what were you doing last night? An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. I'm gonna put this in the moment. I really, really liked this. I remember, like, again, sitting down, reading like the second half in one sitting. It's a really great high fantasy series, so if that's what you're looking for, I'd really recommend it. And I think it did get people talking like recently too. And lastly, we have I'll Give You the Sun, which I'm also gonna put in the moment. I read this actually recently. I read this in like 2024. I don't remember much about what happens, but I remember crying. I remember it being really sad. It's about these two twins, and they don't speak to each other anymore, but you follow it from like a dual timeline where like you alternate their perspectives, and the first perspective is working their way to why they don't talk anymore, and then the second perspective is like after the fact of why they don't talk anymore, and you don't learn like why they don't talk anymore until like the very end, and it's like, can they come together? And it's a really beautiful story. Okay, so this is my final ranking. Honestly, I'm glad to see that the top, like, it is pretty top heavy, but it's also pretty middle heavy, which makes me a little bit sad. I feel like that's definitely in hindsight, because I think at the time, like, If I Stay, Divergent, Lady Midnight, even Shadow and Bone, Red Queen, they'd probably all be up and straight to the canon if like 12-year-old me were doing this ranking. But because it's 23-year-old me, I have to speak my truth. This is my ranking, and I loved doing this video. I loved reminiscing. I had so much fun. Let me know what your favorite popular BookTube book was back in the day and now, if it still is your favorite. I mean, I know mine sure is. The Infernal Devices is evergreen in my heart. It's here forever. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun being nostalgic with me, and I will see you very soon in my next one. Bye!